Having an effective, reliable, and power-packed ESC is vital for RC drifting. And in today's video, I'll be doing a review on the Maclan MDP ESC and motor. Welcome to today's video in the Ideal Auto Factory. I'm going to be talking about everything related to the Maclan MDP ESC, 160 amps by the way, and the 10.5T motor with the stock rotor in it. Keep God first, let's get into this video. Here is my Maclan MDP drift motor. So Maclan Drift Performance, that's what MDP stands for, and this is their motor. And then the ESC is covered by this battery. It's over here. Now you should be seeing the unboxing for the actual motor right now.
Stickers, compact sensor wire, beveled connectors, Maclan Drift Spec 10.5T motor, adjustable in-bell timing, cooling fan rotor.
This is actually the chassis that I run when I'm focused on, promoting the team, because I'm part of an international RC drift team, and this is the chassis that we're all using. But as a benefit to you all, this is the ESC that we're all running too, ESC and motor. So we decided to go with Maclan Electronics, and I'll have a few attributes to point out that we've all experienced so far with this motor and ESC combo, and along with that, just a few takeaways in that category. Okay, so the box includes the USB Type A to Type C cable, the actual ESC with the wires pre-soldered straight up from the ESC. You get the fan, then you get the receiver cable and the power cable. You have this capacitor here. I have not seen the need to use any other capacitor, but Maclan offers two different capacitors. One that's more of a visual aesthetic, I believe, and then they now have a flow cap, which is supposed to increase the performance of this ESC even more. In my mind, I am already blown away at what this ESC does, from the simple fact that it's a reliable, high-performance ESC, that now they're offering more add-ons to make it even that much more powerful and performance-oriented with the flow cap. So tuning on the fly is an option with the Bluetooth programmer, and straight up just regular tuning, very streamlined on a desktop, is also able to be done. I opted to get the Maclan battery connectors, and they're just very simple bullet connectors there, but they have a plus and a minus on the actual top of them, so it makes it really simple to get a sleek look. You don't need the color red on your ESC at all, because it shows you exactly which one's positive and which one's negative. Now, there's not much to really say in a negative light as far as what this motor offers. It is very robust. The design aspect of it is really nice. And then you have clear, straightforward markings here, and they actually sent me the torque rotor for this that I have not tried yet. I haven't seen the need to. I've been driving it for about 2 months and just putting it through so many packs of batteries that I just wanted to share with you that I have zero complaints here with this motor. But let's hear it. Let's hear what this motor can do. Doesn't that sound really great? This motor also cools itself. You can see the fan blade right there, that shiny part right there. Yep, But now that I'm talking about a fan, I do want to point out the first negative of this ESC. That fan, the built-in fan here for the actual ESC, does not work anymore, and confirmed that at this price point, it was nice to say that this came with a fan, and they do offer accessory fans, more high-powered fans on their website. But this one stopped working not long after I owned it, and it doesn't work. But there are aluminum fans that work in the fan port already. Now this motor is very smooth. Timing is great. Adjusting the timing is really easy, and also it's just reliable. I don't have any complaints at all with this motor, and if I have to admit, it's something that I would continue buying. I am kind of settled on this, and I put so many laps through it that I don't want to use any other motor right now for this application, for the top performance of what I'm looking for. And at the price point, it does fare well. Now we're going to get into the Bluetooth app, which is where we're going to spend the majority of our time. There is the perk of just purchasing the ESC and not having to do anything else, and you have tuning capabilities because you have your own laptop at home, and then you have a USB cable, USB-C. But for me, I have an iPhone. I don't have Windows, so this is my option here. So I had to buy this separate. In the manual, it says, in order to update the ESC, please get a Windows computer, and then please use that to update the firmware. It says, hey, you can tune all day with this, but don't update the firmware with this. That's in the manual. So I can't fault them for it, but it is 2025. You can't update the firmware wirelessly. You can only tune wirelessly. And so there's plenty of ESCs that can update wirelessly and all this stuff, but there's still some out there that can't tune. Let's get back into tuning. I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the ESC. And there you see now the Bluetooth programmer is on. Lights are blinking. And now I get to go on my phone and show you all the parameters. Now I'm going to tap the Maclan SmartLink app. And this is what you see when you're in there. And then I'm going to go to connection. You'll see it says manage Bluetooth connection. And there it is. This means it's all connected. You can see the 2 check marks there. There's my 2 check marks right here and right here. Phone connected to Bluetooth, Bluetooth connected to the ESC. There we have it. We're in there. No password protection or anything like that. But when you go back out, every time you plug it in, you can just go straight to programming. And here's all the data that's loading. So there's general settings, protection settings, throttle, brake, advanced timing, and rev limit effect settings. So in the general settings, it's pretty simple. Got the BEC, the forward power, reverse power, the reverse mode, which is pretty cool. They have no reverse, stop, then reverse, or double tap, then reverse. Of course, I'm going to stop, then reverse, meaning no matter how many flicks you do backwards on the brakes, until it reads 0 RPMs, it's not going to go in reverse. Normal motor rotation, and then phase AC swap. I've used that. It works simple enough. So there goes the settings there. Oh, one more thing. Your BEC, you can adjust by 1.1 volts all the way up to 7.4. Now the protection settings, very simple there. Battery cutoff, motor and ESC temperature cut. Then we go into the throttle settings. Now I am on the stock firmware, the firmware that existed when this ESC came out. This is not the newest firmware because I don't have a Windows computer to update the firmware to what is the newest one out now. So, throttle pulse width modulation, 32, 40, 48, 52, 56, and then on the newest firmware it goes up to 64 with a little bit more choices in there. But you can see we have plenty of options. This is my standard tune that I'm running right now. Throttle punch is 150% all the way down to 1%. Look at that. 1% increments on the throttle punch. That is really cool because there's 150 different options. performance wise, that is amazing. Now, I have not felt every last one of the increment changes, so I cannot say they're all like you could clearly feel the difference, but to have that large range is definitely a plus because the fine tuning ability of your power to the ground is extraordinary. Throttle curve, you got linear, plus 10. This is like Expo, of course, all the way up to 100%. So you have these throttle curves in the ESC, and it's pretty safe to stick with linear for now. The throttle rate smooth range, that is pretty much saying, okay, it's going to smooth out your throttle depending on where you put the percentage at. So 35% means 35% of the trigger pull and below will get the smoothening. And then the smooth value, you have 0 to 10, nope, 0 to 30 degrees. And so that'll give you the actual mapping. I see it as degrees, but I'm not sure why the values are in degrees, and then in the manual it's in levels of 1 to 10. But there's that. Then you have a dead band, and those are 1% increments as well, and you can go all the way up to 10. Now the brake settings. So you have brake strength, brake pulse width modulation. You got 600 all the way up to 12,000. That's the pulse width modulation. You know, the higher the number, the smoother it is. That sort of thing. Brake curve, linear, the drag brake, and the drag brake pulse width modulation. So obviously, you have very simple parameters to change here. Now, advanced timing settings. There we have the acceleration boost. So this is your boost timing. Nothing fancy there. And of course, your degrees are from 0 all the way to 60. No limit on that. And then the boost start RPM, the boost end RPM, and then that 25 degrees will gradually be added in between 10 to 35 in between 10,000 to 32,500 RPMs. The turbo position, you can adjust when your turbo actually turns on, and you can go all the way down to 70%, all the way up to 100%. Such a cool setting there because I never even knew turbo had the ability to be turned on early until I got this ESC, and to have it turn on that early, there you go, even more personalized settings. So now you got top speed turbo. So at the end of the throttle range, that turbo position, 25 degrees will be added onto the RPMs that's already there. And as you can see, there's the actual up slew and down slew rate. So the down slew rate is still in levels. So you got level 1 to level 10. But the up slew, meaning how quick the turbo increases, it is in degrees per second. In degrees per millisecond, pretty much. So there's a difference there. I'm pretty sure on the update that these two actually are the same type of parameters. You're getting a degrees per second on the up and degrees per second on the down. And then you have a turbo delay. You can go all the way to 0.9 seconds. Now, that's all of the advanced time settings, and then there's the rev limit effect. So that's disabled right now, but you of course can enable the actual rev limit, and then your ESC will bounce off of the rev limiter. And if you hit enable, you can pick your RPM, the max RPM, and then you got the rev limit value 90% and the rev limit sense. So with the rev limit sensitivity, it says how long it does it. I don't know how that works, but you can go all the way to 0.5 seconds. And then the limit value shows you pretty much it'll drop back down to 95% and then back up to 100%, or 88% back up to 100%, depending on that RPM value. Now, those are all the settings. And you have your manual, the settings. You get night mode, which I like even more. And then there's firmware update. You can choose the firmware, but it doesn't work for this iPhone and, like I was saying earlier. So that's pretty much it there. And then if you want to keep your Bluetooth connected to the ESC physically and be able to drive, you have to go in here and manage the Bluetooth connection. You see it says firmware update, programming, and then disconnect the ESC. So when you disconnect the ESC, you wait. You hear the noise. Sometimes you won't because your car will be on the other side of the track. But now it's just the phone connected to the Bluetooth. And that connection is not there. So as it's still connected right there, you'll be able to drive your car. That is the app. That is the tune on the fly feature in play. Now, I went to Cross Games. I was around a whole bunch of cars. I actually met the owner for Maclan MDP. Like the whole, it was amazing. Really cool to have conversations with Willie and talk about all of the specs and everything like that. I do have to point out that this Bluetooth dongle did not support tuning on the fly when there was a lot of people on the track, 30 plus cars. At one point, I had to pull the car really close to me and kind of like do this thing while I'm pointing my phone at the ESC in order to tune it. But it looks like the main objective of this ESC is to really get down into the weeds of it. Hey, sit on a laptop, test out those different parameters that way. The Bluetooth is just a plus for iPhone users, and it does work. You can tune on the fly, just not with a lot of people on the track, because I couldn't. And maybe that's not a deal breaker for you, but I'm just sharing all the information that I've done with this ESC. Now, one more thing I want to show you. Yeah, I just went to dark mode and I couldn't do dark mode. That's funny. So in dark mode, the font colors didn't change, and therefore I can't see my parameters. So I had to go back to regular mode. Now, because I'm on the team, because I'm part of Crew RC Drift, I'm going to share with you some of the things that my teammates have been going through. Just recently, one of them snapped the rotor, the stock rotor in a 10.5T motor. Don't know why, don't know how it happens. It shouldn't even snap in that way. And there's more to follow on that, whether warranty is covered and things like that. So I'll give more information on that. But mine hasn't snapped, and I've gone crazy with this thing. So for that thing to snap, definitely a factory defect, and it should be covered no problem. And the fan is the negative that I personally experienced. I can plug a different fan in right now and run it, but the stock fan just stopped working, and a teammate of mine's stock fan stopped working as well. So at the price point, it's starting to look like may or may not be with a fan. Instead of saying to yourself, oh, I don't need the other fans because it comes with one. Well, the one that it comes with stopped working. I think honestly this ESC could cost more, and because of being new to the market in a sense, as far as just drifting goes, maybe they're just saying, hey, we're going to give a fan, but really we want you to use the more performance oriented products and pay the price there. So I get it. Now I'm just going to let this ESC and this motor speak for itself. I'm going to put a few laps down, you're going to watch that, and then we're going to close out the video. Okay, final thoughts. Cut and dry. $265. You have an ESC that's Bluetooth capable, wireless capable tuning on the fly. You also get the ability to tune it on the computer. The ESC is also like, you got so much customization. You can run the punch levels at 1% increments. You can run the degrees per millisecond at 1 degree increments for the up slew and down slew on the turbo. The turbo, you can jack it up to 60 degrees. The boost, you can jack it up to 60 degrees. Void warranties all you want. The ESC gives you all those options. The ESC is very powerful. And without a fan, it's taking the beating that I've put on it. Now the motor, I completely enjoy it. I don't think there's a motor that I like more. And this one actually has given me some sort of trust in what it can produce. So I haven't ramped up the timing to 60 degrees, but I have put it past 35. I put it in the 40-degree range, and it's just taking the beating time and time again. I still have to try out the other rotor, but both, they're getting the go-ahead. Great ESCs. Get out there and get one. Thank you to Maclan for creating a product and inserting yourself into the drift market. This has been the full review, long term so to speak, because I've had it for a while, for the Maclan motor and ESC. So without further ado, let me know in the comments what you think about this ESC, whether you picked one up, what are your findings. We'll keep this thread going in the comments. Keep God first. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.